Hi Satnam, it's nice to see that you've sent your first set of essays. Great to see you working so hard. So let's see what you wrote here. The first one is about entertaining schools. So here's what you said. Schools are the roots of, schools are the roots of the education system throughout, one word, the world, to provide to moderate knowledge to the young people as well as to nurture their overall attitude, hobbies, and behaviors in social life. All right. Well, grammatically, we have some problems with this sentence, a number of problems. So what I really want to do is just kind of clean it up, simplify it so that it's easier to read, and just make it a little more accurate. So let's try that again. Schools are the roots of the education system throughout the world, providing basic to moderate knowledge to young people, as well as nurturing their overall attitude. All right, you know what? Honestly, I kind of want to leave this whole section out. This isn't really about nurturing their attitude, hobbies, and behavior. So if it's not really relevant, maybe we should just leave it out instead. Why don't we try it without that whole expression, okay? So schools are the roots of the education system throughout the world, providing basic to moderate knowledge to young people. Okay, I believe that schools should provide sports or games, music, painting, and drama classes in the curriculum. Okay, so now we have an even bigger problem. We took out this part because I felt like it was kind of irrelevant, but what's missing is this link between these two sentences here, okay? There has to be something which shows that there is some sort of controversy, there is some sort of debate happening, there is something that requires us to take a stand on something or to show our position about something. So that's what's missing here. It could have been something like, well, many people think schools should focus only on knowledge in schools. Others think that entertaining components must be included as well. So that's one thing you could have done here. It's basically a rephrasing of this topic. And then you could have said, I agree with the latter viewpoint and that schools should provide XYZ. Okay? Firstly, schools focus on making the education system interesting. Okay, I'm confused here. Let's see. Let's try that again. Schools focus on making the education... I don't know what you're trying to say. I'm very confused by the grammar here. I'm going to try it one more time. Firstly, schools focus on making the education system interesting, attracting aspirants' interest to come to school to learn and develop good habits. Too many of these twos here. In fact, I saw that in the previous paragraph as well. When you write with, and you write like this, it just feels very heavy with all these prepositions and all of these kind of structural words. It becomes a very heavy sentence to read. So I'd like to look at it one more time. All right, so let's try that sentence one more time. Firstly, schools focus on making the... Okay. Let's see. Firstly, schools focusing on making the education system interesting does attract aspirants, an apostrophe here, interest to come to school to learn and develop good habits. So what we've done is we've fixed the grammar, we've made it accurate, but it still is a little heavy with all those twos, but I guess it's fine. If you wanted to really just advance this sentence in terms of the grammar and just make it more kind of higher level, we would have to change the whole sentence around completely. But let's look at the rest of the paragraph, okay? So attraction of schools is important because students get bored by listening to lengthy lectures, which means they do not learn anything in class. For instance, a study in Harvard University shows that schools who did not focus on activities and made students concentrate on education only had bad results in exams. Thus, entertainment is must in school for students for bringing better results. Okay, in terms of the content, it's fine. You linked your ideas nicely. But I do want to change around again some of the language. I see that there are some gaps in in grammar and primarily in grammar that are keeping you from maybe expressing yourself as fluently as you would like. So let's see what you could have done here. This expression, first of all, was rather awkward. It definitely doesn't feel like a natural English expression, this attraction of schools. So what you could have said instead is having attractive schools, or not even attractive, because attractive kind of implies physically attractive. So maybe having appealing schools is important because students get bored by listening to lengthy lectures, which means they do not learn anything in classes. So here you could have, all right, and then you explain it. That's fine. Okay. And then here it should have been thus. Entertainment is a must in schools. In school for students to bring better results. Okay, so it was just some grammatical things. Now, I think you could have developed this a tiny bit more. I think there was more you could have said. Right now, you're following the template, and that's good. That's important. So let's focus on that for now. But as you progress in the course, I also want to see you extending just a little bit more. So anytime you express an idea, at the end of the sentence, I want you to ask yourself, have I answered how or why? If you've answered how or why, then you're fine. But if you think that there is more you could say that answers either how or why, then you should continue and go into a little more detail. But for your first essay, this is fine. You're following the template, and I'm glad to see that. Okay, let's move on. Secondly, extracurriculum, that's a little strange. We don't call it extracurriculum. We call it extracurricular activities, okay? In schools, shapes a future individual to either choose white-collar jobs, blue-collar jobs, or become an artist or player. I don't know what you mean by a player. What kind of player? Well, there is a possibility to develop skills in the early ages of a person. Schools help, no S, students to choose their THEIR subjects or spend more time playing in their sport. For example, in Australia, schools let aspirants play games or take extra classes at the end of the school day so that students can spend time in their interested fields. I don't know what that means, their interested fields. I think you mean their fields of interest. Therefore, students can start preparing for the future by letting them choose their favorite activities. All right, so what I want to do now is I want to change some of this paragraph, correct some of the vocabulary, and correct some of the expressions. So why don't we do that? Okay, so secondly, extracurricular activities in school can shape an individual to choose his professional field in the future. Okay? So while there is a possibility to develop skills while a person is young, or not even while, how about this? Since there is a possibility to develop skills in a person when he is young, schools help students to choose, spelled right, their major subjects or spend more time. I don't know why you're focusing just on sports here. Maybe in the area of their choice. So it could be music, it could be art, it could be something else. So I don't know why you just limited this to sport. For example, in Australia, schools let aspirants play games or take extra classes at the end of the school day so that students can spend time in their fields of interest. Therefore, students can start preparing for the future by choosing their favorite activities. Okay, so I had to change quite a bit here. What you could have done here is rather than saying their fields of interest, you could have gotten a little more specific. So think about this. If you take, say, for example, photography lessons as a student, who knows? Maybe you'll become a photographer. Maybe if you do wood shop, you'll become a carpenter. So you could have been a little more specific here. And again, this goes back to the idea of really just extending your ideas just a step further so that there's no question in the mind of the examiner at the end of each sentence or each paragraph, okay? So, in conclusion, schools with entertaining activities in the schedule or in the program. No, this is not right. Give good results. That's awkward. So schools with entertaining activities in the program have better results in exams and improve the possibility of a young one to find the right job in the future. All right, so while you've got the right general idea, there's some awkwardness here that is probably keeping you from getting the score you need. All right, so I really want you to be a little more careful about this. I want you to work on this a little bit, be a little more accurate with your grammar, and try to use maybe some higher level grammar as well, okay? So let's move on to your second essay. This is one about doing an enjoyable activity. Here's what you said. Early age of children is crucial for the development of their psychology and to develop basic skills. I believe that by being active in games and watching knowledgeable videos, they start speaking earlier and can understand colors, fruits, and other daily things they use. Okay, so let's talk about this a little bit. Grammar, I want to fix that first. Let's start with that, okay? So the early age of children is crucial for, I don't know what you mean, their psychology. I think you mean something else. It is crucial for their mental, or how about this, is crucial for their psychological development and for developing basic skills. Okay. I believe that by being active in games and watching not knowledgeable, but educational videos, and here's where you run into some problems. You're talking about very young children who speak earlier, understand colors and basic concepts early. But if you look at the task, it's talking about children who are a little older, children who are able to read on their own. So the thing we're talking about here is whether other activities can help children develop better skills than just reading can. Okay, so all of this talking about speaking and understanding these basic concepts, these are dealing with two different age groups of children, okay? So I feel like there's some misunderstanding here. Let's see. Firstly, watching cartoons on YouTube, no comma, which provide knowledge about the alphabet, helps children to learn language faster than reading alphabets. Okay, than reading the alphabet. This is because, no comma, children make a visual image of everything in their mind, which helps them to remember the alphabet and respond back when they see the same thing in real life. For example, a study from Harvard University, no comma, shows that children who watched videos of words responded when certain birds' names were called, while children who just looked at pictures from the first day did not respond, no ed, to any names. Thus, reading or showing pictures to children does not make them learn basic knowledge faster. Get rid of this too. All right, so you developed it fine. You followed the template just fine. As you could see, I had to correct a lot of the grammar, but okay, other than that, it was fine in terms of content and in terms of the way you developed. So no major problems there. Like I said, I still feel like you're talking about a younger child than the essay is expecting you to talk about, because we're talking about reading. So the children that you're talking about would clearly not be able to read. So there is some sort of like a disconnect here. But in any case, I want to go on to the next paragraph because this looks rather short. So let's see what you actually said here. Secondly, children who have older siblings learn walking and eating faster. This happens due to the reason that children play with their siblings most of the time and they try to copy them. Okay, careful, you want to use some cohesion here. As a result, they learn things faster instead of learning slowly from parents. For instance, younger children in the family are always more intelligent and seem faster than their older siblings. Therefore, playing with siblings helps children to be more skillful. All right, what are you really telling us here? What's the skill being developed here? Walking and eating? And the other problem is that what are you really saying in terms of doing an enjoyable activity? Is the joy... Are you trying to tell us that the enjoyable activity is having a sibling? So you haven't really talked to us about an enjoyable activity. You've simply just talked to us about a situation, a condition, which is having another sibling. So I feel like this paragraph is a little off topic. We're talking about activities here compared to reading. Okay, there was no mention of reading here whatsoever. So again, I feel like this is really off topic. Now, another reason why I feel this is off topic is because you didn't mention anything about creativity. If you remember correctly, what the essay asks you to talk about, it says developing better skills and more creativity. You absolutely have to spend time discussing creativity. One way a lot of successful essays do this is by talking about a variety of skills in the first paragraph, and then the second body paragraph they talk about creativity and how that can be developed with activities compared to reading. So this is one way you could have done this, and it's a way that I actually recommend. You didn't talk about it at all. So in general, an examiner is going to look at this and mark this essay down for being off topic and potentially not really understanding this idea of doing an enjoyable activity. Okay, so I really want you to be careful about that as you move forward in the course. I want you to be sure that you really analyze the question and understand what you're being asked. Okay, conclusion. So in conclusion, watching videos helps in learning languages and birds. Also playing with children or siblings of similar age helps young ones to grow their mind and to adapt to individual needs. All right, that's fine. It certainly wraps up what you said in your paragraphs, so okay there. I think that you have a lot of information about what the strong points and what the weaknesses of these essays are. So with that information, what I want you to do is correct these essays using my suggestions. I want you to create an error correction list where you write down the mistakes and next to each mistake what the correct version is. And the third thing I need you to do is, of course, write the next set of essays. Try to do that all within the next 24 hours so you can apply everything you've been learning. We'll meet back here with your new essays, so I wish you best of luck.